Okay, in this video, I am having a really special guest today, as you may see, and we're gonna be talking about so many things about US, yeah, and basically US educations and US culture and so many other stuff. But before we jump into the video, let us get to know with our guest here. Okay.
Hi everyone, my name is Rachel Wong. I'm from the US in a state called Wisconsin, which is in the middle of the United States. And I'm currently teaching English here in Indonesia. So I've been teaching around the world. I taught English in Japan, at a high school in Japan, and then at a university in China, and then in New York City. And now I'm here with the U.S. Embassy, the RELO program, which stands for Regional Education Language Office. So I'm teaching at Samratulangi University in Manado for 1.5 years almost, and I'll be here until next July. And I'm visiting Ternate because RELO asked me to visit Access Ternate and do a guest class with the Access students. So that's why I'm here.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, so we are really lucky, Access Ternate, to have like special guest teacher, which is Rachel here for 2 days. Yeah, 2 days teaching, but she's here in like 4 days. Yeah, because you came before the teaching. After that, here it is the 4th day.
Yep.
But also the day you're leaving Ternate is so sad.
Maybe I'll be back.
Hopefully. Okay, so in this very special moment, I'm trying to get the most of it by making this video, educational video. Okay, so we will just jump into the discussion, yeah, because this channel is about educational channel. So the very first topic would be US education. Can you like share a little bit, a lot of about the US educational system? Maybe we will start with your educational background with a bachelor and master.
Sure. So I did my bachelor's at University of Wisconsin-Madison, which is in my hometown, Madison, Wisconsin.
Okay.
And it was in linguistics and psychology, double major, and I also minored in TESOL, which is teaching English.
So is it double or triple?
It's double major with a minor.
Okay.
And then my S2, my master's, was in applied linguistics. My master's is in applied linguistics at Teachers College, Columbia University in New York City.
Columbia. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, and I want to know, because as you mentioned you have bachelor and then master in US. I want to know how the grading system in the US. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think the grading system in the US, well, the GPA system is somewhat similar to Indonesia, and it depends on each university, and also it depends on the class. But in general, for my classes, when I was a linguistics or psychology major for undergrad, it was something like you need to have around 90 for an A, or even like 90. The highest class I had to get 92 for an A. Yeah, and the majority of the grading came from like the assignment, like the homework, and the tests, like the midterm and the final. And some classes are very big, like the big lecture classes, like maybe 100 students or more. So
wow, that's really big.
yeah, so the lecturer has to use a microphone, and there's not a lot of interaction. But usually if we have a really big class, then sometimes we split it into discussions. So we have like a
smaller.
Yeah, so they split the class. So we have a large, like the lecture part, and then we have discussions as part of the course too. So that's one way to make the class feel smaller. So sometimes in the discussion they might also grade the participation and attendance. And then in other classes, sometimes the assignments are like projects, with your group, or could be a group presentation, could be group homework that you do together, and sometimes it's individual. And so even in the classes that don't grade participation, usually it's better to get to know the teacher or the professor. We call them all professors. There's no lecture professor difference.
Everyone is professor.
Basically, yeah. We just call them like professor something or prof something. Usually people always recommend that you get to know your professor because by asking questions after class, for example. Usually it's recommended that you get to know your professor by going to their office hours and ask them questions, or ask them questions after class, because asking questions is a way to show that you're interested in the material and that you care about the class. And also it's really important to get to know your professors because later on, if you're applying for like masters, you need a letter of recommendation. Yeah, exactly. Or even if you're applying for a job or something. So the letter of recommendation, it's really hard to write if you don't remember the student, right? So making a personal connection with the professor is a good way to get to know them. And also when you ask questions more about the material, then you get a better understanding. And then you can also be able to be recommended. And also, professors are really good, like mentors. Like for me, my advisor for my senior thesis, I was doing a lot of research because it's a good way to see if I like it for grad school. And then I found out that I prefer more like practical things like teaching than straight like research on linguistics or psycholinguistics. And she told me that it's okay, like you don't have to go to grad school right away, like because everyone in my class was applying for like psychology masters.
Oh, for master?
Yeah, directly from undergrad. And I felt like maybe that's not what I want to do. And so then I ended up teaching full time for a few years before going back for my master's. But I think she was a good mentor for me because she was like, it's okay, you don't have to do it right now, and you can always like go back and do it in an area that you're interested in, and like it's okay to listen to yourself, and if that's not what you want right now, then you can find something that you would rather do. So that's how I ended up in teaching, or else maybe I would have gotten a master's in psychology because I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life.
Okay, so basically the professor really helps in terms of like giving recommendation about what to do after the undergraduate.
Yeah, not in like giving
like,
recommendations necessarily,
like
but
personal recommendation for you what to do after the...
Well, for me it was more like she was a great example of how to be a psychology professor and be doing a lot of research in psycholinguistics. So it was really nice for me to see like a role model of someone who's doing that in academia. And then for me to figure out what I wanted, and she was really helpful in encouraging me to figure out what I want and to do that.
In your undergrad or master, do you have any other like international students friends?
Yeah, I had a lot of
like from Indonesia maybe? No? Okay.
From Indonesia, but
from
okay.
other country.
So when I was in doing my undergrad, I joined a student organization, and we had a lot of international students also working at it. So it was really nice for me to make friends with people, and I had friends from like China, Malaysia, Taiwan, Korea, Japan, lots of places. And then I also have a lot of friends who are like from immigrant backgrounds. So I have like Egyptian American friend, Italian American, German American, Indian American.
Yes, so diverse.
Yeah.
Many,
So I really like that about the U.S. and we can learn from each other about our different backgrounds. Nice.
And do they like share their story of struggling with keep up with the US education? Do they ever tell you something about that?
Yeah, I guess. I don't remember like specific stories, but I think sometimes international students end up making friends with just people from their country when they're studying in the U.S. And I think that it's easier because you feel more comfortable, but at the same time, I think studying abroad means you challenge yourself, and even though it's really hard, I definitely recommend making friends with people from other cultures. And I think starting with other international students from other countries is a good way to bond. And then also, I think joining activities that are like, if you have a hobby, and then you can meet other people, like people from the U.S.
With the same interests
Yeah.
in the university.
Yeah, exactly. So like at the student organization that I worked at, it's because we were all interested in helping other students and like with like tutoring or helping them study or have study skills. And so it doesn't matter that we're from different backgrounds. We can all be interested in the same like goal or activity.
Okay. And can we back again with the grading? If you put it into like 100%.
For the smaller classes, I think the participating in the discussion is a bigger part, and also they might ask students to do more, like lead a discussion on an article, for example. Like so we have to read about the research article beforehand, and then prepare what are the themes of this and what are some discussion questions we can ask. So it's about leading the discussion or facilitating a discussion. So I had to do that either alone or with a partner sometimes in the upper level, smaller discussion classes.
And the assignment, are they like always online based?
Sometimes there are like assignments that we can complete online or even quizzes that we can complete online. But sometimes, especially for like linguistics, and we have to draw like syntax trees or do problem sets about language.
So it's like
It's more handwritten.
physical and writing
Yeah.
on paper.
Yeah, because it's more, you have to show the work and it's hard to do online.
Okay, as you mentioned before, you like to learn new culture, meet new people with different background. You also tell us about it in our Existenate class. You keep telling the students that you are so eager to learn new culture. And with your background that you have like moving places a lot, like you've been teaching in China, in Japan, in New York, and in Indonesia now. As we know, Rachel is coming from the RELO, Regional English Language Office, which is one of the fellow that a teacher that can teach whenever around the world. And you happen to be teaching in Indonesia, right? I want to know what motivates you to like, throw yourself into the world. Like it can be anywhere. Why you like teaching? Why you want to teaching outside of the U.S.? Why you not staying in the U.S.? Why you need to go outside, travel the world, teaching anywhere you want?
So I think that for me it's more interesting to teach outside of the US because I can learn about other cultures and I like learning new languages and learning the traditions or the food. And when you live in another country, you can become part of that community. Like if you're just traveling somewhere, you go somewhere for 1 week and take pictures and then leave.
Yeah.
So I prefer to stay somewhere because I can learn more about the culture in that country, and I really like to learn about things that I don't know anything about. So I think that people are afraid of what they don't know, and
Most people,
yeah. And so I think it's fun for me to challenge myself and learn about things that I don't know, and I think that you realize that actually people are more alike than we're different. And okay, so I have the opportunity to go abroad and represent the U.S. And I have that chance through this program in Relo. So for Relo, I applied to teach anywhere in the world, and then they placed me in Indonesia and then in Manado. And I was willing to go anywhere because I think that it's a new adventure, and I'd rather be placed based on my experience and the project, and if it matches, then it's a good fit, I think, for me. So yeah, I was very excited to come to Indonesia and learn about this country. So before I came to Indonesia, I only knew that in high school we learned Indonesia is the country with the largest Muslim majority in the world, and that's all I knew. And maybe, I think when I was in Japan, I heard about nasi goreng.
No, okay, nasi goreng is very famous anywhere in the world. Okay, so far that you have experience, did you face any culture shock?
Yes, of course. So first I was in Japan, and I think the biggest culture shock is the general environment in Japan, like on the trains, in the movie theaters. It's really quiet, like no one talks, even if it's a crowded train at 7 a.m. in the morning and everyone's going to work, but everyone is totally silent. Yeah.
Really voiceless.
Yeah, because everyone's sleeping and it's rude. And well, sometimes during the day, people will have conversations, but not in a loud voice. They will have very quiet voice.
So Japanese tend to be silent people.
Yeah, I think it's seen as respectful for other people if you are not invading their space with sound, I guess. And it's always keep your phone on silent in the trains, in the movie theaters. It's also really quiet. So that was a very big difference between Japan and Indonesia for me.
Yes.
Because Indonesia has a lot of sounds, all the time. And then another interesting thing for me, I guess, is when I was in China, people always, or not always, but often asked about my salary, even though someone that I just met, for example, my apartment had a problem and someone came to fix the pipes, and when he's there, he was like, "Oh, what do you work as?" And then I said, "At the university," and then he asked me how much I make, and I was kind of shocked because in the US you don't ask that question. Even with friends, it's not that common.
Consider rude or privacy area?
Yeah, it's a little bit I don't know you very well, and it's not a common
thing.
Yeah, so I was kind of surprised. And then in Indonesia, I think people more kepo about religion. Well, in China and Indonesia, they always ask, "Are you married?" But in Indonesia, they ask about religion, and in other countries, they don't really. And in the U.S., religion and salary are not very common questions to ask someone that you just meet.
We're currently talking about culture, so do you have any US culture that you want to share a little bit? In Access Ternate classes, these past 2 days you share about Thanksgiving and then the holiday seasons.
So in Access Ternate, we talked about US holidays.
Yeah.
So we got to experience a little bit of Thanksgiving, which is a holiday where you feel thankful or grateful about
at the end of the year.
It's always at the end of November, the fourth Thursday in November. Okay, Thanksgiving is a holiday where you get to be grateful for what you have, and it's always at the end of November. So we practiced sharing what we're grateful for in Access, and we also discussed Christmas. Christmas is a holiday that's celebrated by a lot of Christians, but some people celebrate it who are not Christians because there's a lot of aspects of Christmas, like Santa Claus and gingerbread men and holiday cards that's not specifically Christian. And we also have Hanukkah, which is celebrated by a lot of Jewish people in the US. And then we also talked about New Year's, which is a chance to reflect on what happened in the last year and make resolutions or goals for the next year. So it was really fun to see students' goals for next year.
Okay, and also yesterday you shared about.
That was nice voice.
Okay, and yesterday you share in your workshop in the Faculty of Culture in University of Hairun about building community of readers and writers.
Building a community of readers and storytellers.
Yeah, readers and storyteller, and I am also one of the audience that I got a chance to like sing your workshop, and it's for me personally it's really
Enlightening.
Okay, and for me personally it was really enlightening because I have interest in literacy, like reading and writing. So yeah, and also the sad fun fact here in Indonesia we have a really low literacy rate and you discuss about it because we here tend to like reading for tests and not reading for reading for fun. We also like when we talk about reading, it's always like reading because we have tests so we need to read.
Yeah.
And you come up with the idea of we need to read because we have fun while reading, and that's really amazing for me. Can you share a little bit about that?
So actually the idea and the information is from the Indonesian Extensive Reading Association. So I attended their talk and at the beginning of this year, and it was really interesting for me because I didn't realize that about Indonesia, and then it helped me compare with my experience in the US. So in the US, we when we're growing up in elementary school, they emphasize reading for fun. Like the librarians will read a book out loud to kids, like a picture book, or teachers will read a book out loud to kids, and it's just about telling a story, not like you have to learn something. So what I learned from the IEDA talk is that in Indonesia, I think the idea of reading is only for studying or for tests at school. So we wanted to promote the idea that reading can be also for fun, because if reading is not for fun, then people are not going to read. So it's not because Indonesians are lazy or don't like to read, it's because they haven't been exposed to the idea that reading can be for fun and for your own enjoyment. So Indonesians really like stories, and so I think that if we can just change it to be like reading is a great way to share stories, and it can be for fun, and you don't have to take a test. You can just talk about your opinion of the book, and there's no right or wrong answer, then it makes it more interesting for students to be able to share. The other thing that I'm supposed to talk about, what IEDA shared is that some problems of why Indonesia maybe has a really low literacy rate is that in Indonesia, reading is not really in the culture of the family or the society, so maybe there's not a lot of books at home for kids to enjoy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And so in the US, we have more like public libraries where you can borrow books for free, and that helps make books more accessible. And so because it's harder for books to be accessible in Indonesia, that's why I asked my students to create books, because those are books that we can spread the story to kids, and it's not that expensive. It's less than 100,000 rupiah to make a copy, and maybe only like 20,000 if it's black and white. So I think that even though not as many books are accessible in paper format, that we can create books, or we can ask students to create books. But I also shared about there's a lot of books available on YouTube. If you search read alouds, you can find people reading these picture books out loud in a fun way, and so we can share stories with students.
Okay, and also I got the idea of how Indonesian culture moving from oral culture directly into the video culture, digital culture. Like now people tend to see it. People like video format better than other format basically now. And you said that Indonesia missing one aspect, which is where is the reading culture in it, because oral jumping into the digital culture.
Yeah, so that's the information I got from IEDA too. And I can see that Indonesia relies on oral tradition, like the culture of storytelling is usually orally.
Yeah.
And then so because of that, and I think Indonesians are drawn to visual as well. I mean, most people visual is more interesting, right?
Yeah, more interesting to see to engage with the video.
Yeah, and so I think that picture books or books with illustrations are a good way to get Indonesians excited about reading, but it's also a visual format. So
Because there's pictures in
yeah,
it. Okay.
and it makes it easier to understand as well for people learning English. If you're making a book that's like English and Indonesian, to also have the picture. And so it's a complicated problem, but I think if we can show Indonesia is a very oral tradition culture, and we can use books to share that culture and preserve the culture to pass it on to young people by writing it down and including pictures and things. And I think that will also get the younger generation to be more excited about sharing the local culture.
Yeah.
Because your question is my explanation.
I've been talking about his education, his culture, and your teaching experience, and also reading culture in Indonesia. Now, I want you to a little bit share about the US programs that the students here in Indonesia, especially Ternate, can actually apply. Like yesterday you mentioned about EPIC,
Camp EPIC.
Camp EPIC, and that's really new here. And the truth is, the fact is we don't have any alumni yet from Ternate.
Okay,
And
let me
also-
talk about Camp EPIC first then. Okay, so Camp EPIC is a program from the U.S. Embassy Relo here. So last year we had a camp in Bali, and it was around 2 weeks, and it was fully funded, like the flights and the hotel are paid for. And the participants are students who are planning to become teachers of English. So Indonesian students in their 6th, 7th, 8th semester before you graduate, you can apply for this program, and hopefully we will have this program again this summer, pending budget approval. And the program is really great because it teaches a lot of communicative activities for teaching English, and it's like a camp environment. So you spend several days together from morning till evening, and also there's some homework assignments as well. And we really encourage students to apply, because this program is really great because there are people from all around Indonesia chosen, so you get to be in a room with people from every part of Indonesia. It's really exciting. We get to see the diversity of Indonesia in one room, and I really hope there will be students from Ternate at the next one.
Okay, now those are the program for the undergraduate students that haven't graduated. Now, what about the graduate students? Like students that already graduate from undergraduate. Like there is a program from US like Fulbright Master. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, called Fulbright, that has a lot of different scholarships for masters and also for PhD. They also have some programs for doing short-term exchange, like 1 year in your university when you're still a master's student. So you should go to the Fulbright website and look at the details, because there's different types of programs. But there are scholarships available to study in the US.
And do you know like any tips for those who wants to apply for like each program has its own characteristic maybe, so this application should be like this, like that, like promoting this. what the committee looking for in the applicants? Maybe.
Okay, I'll have to say that from what I've seen with Indonesian students, I think that Indonesian culture is it's not it's not really good to be like very proud or ambitious, but in the US for applications we need students to talk about what they have accomplished and to say in details the good things about what they've done. I think it's hard for students in Indonesia to talk about what they've done and maybe realize that it's a cool thing. And in the US, we care a lot about what you've done outside of school. So any involvement in organizations, extracurriculars, it can be like, even if you're a leader in your religious organization, or you're part of a volunteering thing. And volunteering means anything where you help someone without getting paid. So it doesn't have to be a big thing, but we need students to talk about it. And the other thing is about your future goals. So in the application, you can't just say like, I want to study at this school because it will help me be a better whatever. Right. So we want to know what you're going to do with it in the future. So like if you complete this degree in the US, how will you come back and help other people in Indonesia and spread the knowledge?
Okay. So that's basically about how to promote ourselves in order to apply for the program.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. As before we end this video, I wanna ask Rachel to share the message maybe for the viewers. I call them internet friends. So may say something for them, like encouraging words, something like that, special magical words.
Okay. Hi, internet friends. My message for you, internet friends, is that if you really want something, I think there's a saying in the US, where there's a will, there's a way. And it means like you can find some way to make your dreams happen. And also when you apply for scholarships, even if you fail the first time, like it doesn't mean to give up. It means to keep improving your application and your English, because there are some people who applied for Fulbright like 2 times and they got it on the 3rd time. Or the most number of times is they got it on their 7th time.
7th time?
Yeah, so they failed 6 times already. But it's about persevering, and they didn't just, stay the same. They're in those years, they are improving themselves and finding more opportunities and experiences for them to learn new skills, meet new people, and improve their English. So keep trying and don't give up.
Okay, thank you very much. And thank you for watching.